All right, what is up, guys? So, in today's video, we're going to be discussing dieting. So, based off my last video, a lot of people were interested in the dieting aspects of my training, but dieting is a very complex thing and it's very individualized. So, one diet for me will not work, the same diet won't work for you. It's based off of every person individually. So I kind of wanted to make a video discussing the basics of dieting, and I broke it down to 4 kind of simple key steps that you can follow to sort of set up a diet or kind of get a plan going for yourself and your training program to kind of follow in the basic format to kind of either achieve some weight loss goals or weight gaining goals. So today we're also going to be discussing my 9 weeks out update. So included in that will be my check-in photos and then the changes that I've made on those weekly basis. Those changes include changes in the training program, changes in my diet, cardio. So I'll be discussing all of that, showing check-in photos and kind of discussing that a little bit. But for now, let's get started and discuss some of the dieting. Okay, so step 1 is to figure out your goals. Everybody is different. What you want may be different from what somebody else wants. Everybody is different shape, different size, and that doesn't matter. What matters is what you want for your body and how to achieve that, right? So step 1, do you want to gain weight, build muscle, or are you trying to lose weight and slim down? Sometimes the answer is actually a mixture of both. You want to lose some fat, but you also want to gain some muscle. But that's a good thing because in the process of burning fat also usually comes with building muscle. So those two kind of come hand in hand. We want to be realistic. We want to set a goal. Now, if you are going away in 2 weeks and you want to lose 20 pounds, you can't do that in a healthy fashion. Right? Healthy weight loss will take time. So usually some people will say half a pound to a pound of weight or fat is reasonable within a week's time. Now, if you want to lose 20 pounds, that can happen over 10 to 20 weeks. It is a process that you will figure out works for your body. Now, the other thing is being accountable. So you want to tell your family, tell your partner, tell your friends, tell even your coworkers, write it down, put it on a board, manifest it. This is something you want to do, you want to achieve. Put it out there to the world and be accountable for it. When you start telling people, they're going to ask you, oh, how's your diet going? How many pounds have you lost? And that's going to hold you accountable. It's going to keep you responsible for staying on track. So I would highly recommend doing that. Step 2 is now to make a realistic plan. And this comes in 2 parts. And that becomes part, for working out as well as dieting. So for part 1, we're going to discuss the workout plan. For the workout plan, I would say to aim to strength train at least 3 to 5 times a week. For everyone, if you're just beginning, 3 times a week is okay. But if you're kind of already been working out for years, 5 times a week is probably pretty doable and your body can handle it. You can recover. You probably feel pretty natural to you. But that being said, some people say, why not work out every day of the week? Well, rest and recovery is also as important as working out. Your muscles need time to heal and recover to build and get stronger. Now, the other thing is it's good to follow a workout plan. Stick to the same sort of workouts, training style. So if you're squatting at least once a week, if you squat, on week 1 and you're hitting a certain amount of weight, maybe by week 2 or week 3, you'll notice an improvement in your weight and you're saying, oh, wow, I'm getting stronger. So it's good to sort of follow a structured plan so you can see those changes in your strength over time. And the amount of time that one wants to actually spend working out roughly is, I would say, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, for those days that you actually are training. You don't need to be in the gym for 2 to 3 hours a day. That's unrealistic. Not many people who have full, let's just say 9 to 5 jobs can do that. If you have a family, that's really hard. So when you get to the gym, be efficient, work out hard, and get it done. And that's all you need to do. And that will be just enough. The other part about this is that being fit is a lifestyle. So make it work with your schedule. Make it work with your work schedule, with your family, with your kids, with your overall life, your lifestyle. It's all a balance. You need to balance this. If you want to go out every weekend, it's not going to help you be fit. So if you really want to push your fitness and you want to become a more healthy individual, you have to think about your choices. Do I want to be going out to the bar every weekend and drinking 20 beers, or would I rather have, six pack? These are choices that you're going to have to make. Okay, the second part of step 2 is the diet. Now, the diet plan is very individualized, as I kind of mentioned before. Now, what is a diet? A diet is really any sort of food that a person, animal, or community routinely eats. You could also, another definition of dieting usually includes, some special type of food or, plan that you're doing to lose weight. I would consider a diet either to gain or lose weight. So you can consider that for caloric deficit or caloric surplus. This will help you either gain or lose weight based off of your goals. Now, what's important here is that you calculate your caloric maintenance. Now, you can do this. Basically, you could do it free online. Go to Google, type in caloric maintenance calculator. Now, it considers a variety of things like your age, your height, your weight, and your activity level. Now, activity level is important because if you have a very sedentary job where you're sitting at a desk all day, you're most likely not as active as somebody who probably works in manual labor, like a construction job. And these factors will actually go into how many calories you're burning throughout the day, and that's important. So, how does somebody actually burn calories? Now, this is a great question. So, to burn calories, your body just burns calories by hanging around, sitting, relaxing, doing nothing. You also burn calories through physical exercise, manual labor, work, etc. You also burn calories through sorts of things called non-exercise, like getting up off the chair, walking around, simple things like moving about throughout your day. You can even burn calories through your internal processes in your body, like digestion, for example. Now, the requirements for weight loss or weight gain, like muscle building, is pretty simple. It's 3 simple requirements, and that being a caloric deficit or surplus, strength training, and having enough protein, hydration, and rest. Now, to kind of get into that some more, I'm going to talk about each of these points. So, the specifics or the requirements for weight loss or gain. For the caloric deficit or surplus, usually you want to be 200 to 500 calories from your maintenance. That's either above or below. So what does that actually mean? That means that your caloric maintenance minus the calories that you burn throughout the day should equal either some positive or negative number. Now that is either your surplus or your deficit. If you're in deficit, you will be losing weight loss. If you're in surplus, that'll help with weight gain. Now, somebody might not know, like, okay, I calculated my maintenance caloric intake. It's roughly this number, right? How am I going to know how many calories I burned throughout the day? Now, you can, calculate this very simply with, modern technology like an Apple Watch. Apple Watches are very good for calculating the amount of calories that you burn throughout the day, plus your workout, plus any cardio or anything you might do. And when you're considering calculating your maintenance caloric intake, make sure you consider your activity level and be honest with that, so that can give you a proper number. But I would say anywhere from 200 to 500 calories below or above will help you either lose or gain weight. Now, strength training, like I mentioned, 3 to 5 times of working out a week is good. But what are you working out? How are you going to break this up? Now, I'm not going to discuss like all the different splits and all these different things you could do to work out. Now, that's up to you, right? But for strength training, I usually recommend working out one muscle group about 1 to 1.5 times a week. That could be like you're hitting biceps in a back workout. That's like kind of half of a time. You're not spending a full workout on your biceps, but then you also have a full arm day. So that's like hitting your arms 1.5 times a week, roughly. Now, the last part of this is your protein intake. Now, to build muscle and strength train, when you're strength training to help to support building muscle, you need to have a high enough protein intake. Roughly, the desired amount of protein, grams of protein for a person per day, is usually, I think, around 0.6, 0.7 grams of protein per 1 pound that you weigh. But if you're strength training and you're working out, you want to bump that up higher. So anywhere from 1 gram per pound or even more. Like right now, I think I'm around 1.5 grams of protein per body pound. And for hydration, this is equally as important. You need to stay hydrated, or you're not going to feel well. You're not going to recover well. You need your muscles to be hydrated. In terms of hydration, a good kind of rule of thumb is to take half of your body weight and drink that in ounces of water per day. If you're taking supplements like creatine, for example, that's also going to cause an effect in, pulling water into your muscles. You're going to want to increase your hydration. So everybody has different, requirements for these sorts of things. So if you're taking creatine, for example, you may want to drink more than that allotted amount of water every day. And then in terms of rest, if you weren't working out before, if you start working out pretty intensely, you're going to realize that you're probably going to want to sleep more. But overall, even if for somebody that works out, the average number of rest per day is usually about 7 to 9 hours of rest is good enough and sufficient for building muscle and losing fat. All right, step 3 of dieting would be actually implementing your plan. Now, it sounds silly and it sounds easy, but this is probably the hardest thing, is that following through and making sure that your fitness and health journey becomes a part of your daily routine. Now, if you can do this daily and make it enjoyable for yourself, it just becomes natural. Oh, I go to work and I go to the gym right after. You start meeting people, just becomes a part of your normal routine, then it's going to keep you consistent, and that's important. Now, if you're a normal person, you can enjoy things like going out, having a night out, eating fast food. That's okay. Do these things in moderation. It's totally healthy, totally normal to enjoy yourself and be able to splurge. But that being said, having a night out is one thing, but be aware of what you're putting in your body. You don't want to be drinking 20 beers. You want to consider that. How many calories are in a beer? There's probably 250 calories in a beer. You're drinking 20 of those. That's probably just above your caloric maintenance just in beer alone. So dramatic example, but think about these things when you're making choices. Oh, when you're going out, maybe I'll have 1 or 2 drinks. What are the drinks I'm drinking? What's in it? What kind of foods am I eating? Oh, these are natural organic foods. These are healthier for me, less processed foods. That's what you should do. And read the label. You obviously want to have things that are more natural and organic and less processed things. I shouldn't have to explain that to everyone. The last step of dieting is to keep going. And that may be hard for some. A lot of people want to get going. They want to make a plan. They stick to it for a little bit, but then they fall off. Like, life gets hard. I know things get in the way, but you have to keep going because consistency is key. The other thing is that you're going to have to adapt and change your routine. It might get boring, you might plateau, but this is what's going to happen. You start to lose some weight. Your caloric maintenance will also change. Now, this is about your metabolic ability to adapt. So now you're also then going to have to decrease your calories again. So you're going to have to keep adjusting. It takes time and it's a process. So you're going to have to adjust your diet. You're going to have to adjust your workout routine to see what works for you. So, lastly, I think everyone should be proud of themselves. If you're pushing yourself to diet and you're pushing yourself to improve, that this is really awesome. You should be proud of yourself every step of the way. Take progress pictures. Enjoy the grind and enjoy the results. It's going to help you live a better, healthier life. So I wanted to make one more final point before I get into my 9 weeks out update. Tracking, macros and tracking calories isn't for everybody. And some people think, I can't diet, I can't track all these calories. you realistically don't even need to track calories, but you need to just be aware. In my mind, if you figure out what your maintenance caloric intake is for where you should be right now, and most humans are creatures of habit. You eat mostly the same things for breakfast, you probably eat very similar things for lunch and dinner. So go through, track a couple days of eating of what you would normally do, and see where that falls relative to what your caloric maintenance should be. It may be higher and it may be lower. And then you could also see things like how much protein am I actually consuming? And then that can help you make the judgment call of how your current diet stands to your goals. So if you realize that, oh man, my current diet that I'm consistently eating every day is 500 calories more than my maintenance, this will be a reason why I'm gaining weight. Or I'm not building muscle, I'm working out all the time. Are you eating enough protein? And you can measure these things just by tracking a couple days. Follow that. Okay, a couple weeks go by, you start to notice a change. You start cutting some calories out of your routine diet. You kind of move from there. Now you notice a plateau. You stopped losing weight. Recalculate your caloric intake. See what your maintenance is. Now consider your new diet. Is your new diet going to fit that current caloric intake as well as your fitness goals? You want to keep losing weight? Let's go back into deficit, cut a little bit more out. It's a process, but you don't need to be crazy on tracking macros and calories all the time. I followed this sort of process and general guideline, and it has helped me get through bulking, it's helped me get through cutting, and you don't have to be crazy to track every single meal, but just to be aware of what you should be eating and kind of what your current status of eating is and what your goals are. Do all these things align is very important. So with that being said, I'm going to leave this conversation of dieting and we're going to transition into our discussion of me being 9 weeks out.
Alright guys, so today we are going to hit some shoulders and arms. So it's like a push, shoulder, arm workout. And we're going to take you through just a couple of the workouts, what we do, how we hit them. So most of this is going to be explosive and like kind of the forward motion, and then we're going to hit the negatives nice and slow. So let's get to it.
So to get into the 9 weeks out update from 12 weeks out, here we're going to start with my 12 weeks out photos for check-in. Here you could see I was eating about 2,700 calories, 295 grams of carbs, 40 grams of fats, and 293 grams of protein. Now, so moving forward from there, from 12 to 11 weeks out, my coach, the only thing he had done was he bumped my cardio from 15 to 25 minutes. So 5 times a week, 120 to 125 beats per minute for the heart rate. And then at 11 weeks out, you can notice there's not really a significant change in my check-in photos, as those macros were kind of very similar. And then, and the cardio wasn't that much of a drastic change. So moving forward from 11 weeks out to 10 weeks out, my coach bumped up the cardio again from 25 minutes to 35 minutes. So that's 5 times a week, maintaining the same 120 to 125 beats per minute for the heart rate. And then here I was cut down to 2,600 calories, 272 grams of carbs, 40 grams of fat, 291 grams of protein. So about 100 calories, as well as cutting about 20 grams of carbs or so, plus the cardio. Now, this was kind of a minor, small adjustment in the food, but as you can see, it's actually like how this process goes. You start making these small micro adjustments, and then over time it builds up. And this is a good thing to learn about dieting. It takes time to build these small adjustments, actually add to changes over time, right? So here again, I didn't really see like a crazy significant change in my check-in photos after this week. But then I maybe like a slight tightness coming in around like my waistline and my like lower abs. So then moving from 10 weeks out to 9 weeks out, we bumped the cardio up again from 35 minutes to 45 minutes, 5 times a week, maintaining the same 120 to 125 beats per minute of heart rate. Now this is like getting to be a little frustrating, or not frustrating, just long. Like it's a while to do cardio at like 5 times a week. But what gets me through is watching some YouTube videos, watching some shows, doing some like mental thinking work about like what do I want to do for content or other things. I try to keep myself pretty distracted, so I just kind of walk along on incline treadmill and keep going. So now also from this 10 weeks to 9 weeks update, my coach cut my calories again. So now we moved down from 2,600 calories to 2,400 calories. Now 226 grams of carbs, 40 grams of fats, and 287 grams of protein. So as you can see, we're cutting some of the carbs out, like cutting carbs out on training days, and I'll also include the non-training days as well in here. But here I'm also not eating carbs like in the morning on non-training days, so then my calories are dropping more significantly. But as you could see, maintaining kind of fats, they're still low, but we're maintaining that high level of protein intake, which is good for maintaining that muscle mass. But the biggest shift that I actually kind of noticed at this like 10 weeks out to 9 weeks out is I actually started to tighten up more around my ab section, like my midsection. I'm starting to see my lower abs, especially in that like ab and thigh pose. And I feel like I started to also notice a shift a little bit in my mood, as well as just my overall energy level. So like lately I've been a little bit less energetic at like work and just kind of my day to day, more so than I normally am. I'm not completely exhausted, but I feel like I'm definitely not like 110%, which makes it a little bit, it makes it a little harder to push myself in the gym or push myself in cardio. But this is where, the diet and things become a mental game. You have to keep your mentality straight and you got to keep pushing through. So you got to get it done. So yeah, that's it for the 9 weeks out update, guys. If you have any other questions or suggestions, please leave a comment below. like the video as well as subscribe to the channel. So we have some more cool, interesting content coming up. And if you want to see anything, please leave a comment, give me some feedback. A lot of this is based off of what I hear from you guys. So I love the feedback, and stay tuned for more. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one.